Hey, everybody. Happy Thursday. It is chamber check-in time. And today I have a special guest. It is founder and CEO of Capital Employment Group, Mr. Nick Mitchell. Hi, Nick.
Hey, how's it going, Paul? Thanks for having me.
I am looking forward to sharing your story and how we met and the products and services that you provide your clients. But first, Nick, I get to thank our series sponsor for these check-ins. And as you know, it's Delta Dental of Idaho. Delta Dental is a huge community supporter and provides best-in-class dental insurance benefits to Idahoans, and they've been doing it for over 50 years. I'm going to show a fun video from their Tooth Truth series. Here we go.
Hey, did you know that the Statue of Liberty's mouth is 3 feet wide? That's a serious set of chompers.
I love that one. Hey, Nick, thanks for taking some time to share the Capital Employment Group story with me. You know, these check-ins are designed to share business stories and the history of companies, but most importantly, the people behind those brands. So why don't you share a little bit about the background of Capital Employment Group, when and how it began?
Excellent. Interesting. One of the few times I still say we as a team player, but this was a sole venture of putting this together. But I'm just this March will hit 20 years experience of staffing and recruiting. I'm an Idaho native, so I'm an endangered species here. It seems to be. But I started with about 9 months left of college. Graduated from Boise State in the industry. What I quickly learned was the style of sales. It's a relationship sales business. There's that reoccurring piece to it, but really there was the piece of advocating for the blue collar worker in the light industrial zone, and then those relationships with really to find out how your local economy moves and how products move through it was really exciting. And of course, it started to make some decent money. And then just my career took me to a small staffing company in Utah. So I spent 2 years in Utah with a small firm on a branch turnaround. At the end of that, became a minority equity partner in that firm, and then opened 4 additional offices from scratch, opening up Boise in 2006 and Nampa in 2008. And I will mention opening a light industrial staffing branch in March of 2008 was not a good time to open a staffing branch, but we pulled it off. It was lots of grind to turn that corner, and then built those branches to be flagships. For me, I believed as that minority equity partner, I was building a legacy for myself that came to light around 2017, and I decided to resign, honor my non-compete, and move on. What I ended up doing was joining a headhunting company, direct placement headhunting. So from beautiful downtown Boise, I developed the West Coast and then national placements. But the vertical was staffing and recruiting companies. So my candidates were top producers in the industry that I've spent so much time and I love. My clients were top, they're recruiting and staffing companies. So it was an incredible mentorship opportunity. As a competitor today, I can't ask my competitors what their best practices and their go-to-market strategies are. But in that recruiter seat, they opened the hood. I got some great mentors from it that I call on regularly. But long story short, it was COVID that allowed me to live my dream, put me in a situation in early March, trying to figure out how I was going to provide for my family. My beautiful bride reminded me that I resigned in 2017 to honor that non-compete and to look for my window back into light industrial staffing, office and administration, and then corporate services. And April 16th, after the governor said, we're going another 2 weeks, I said, enough, we're going to see if we can pull this thing off. So founded a Capital Employment Group. April 16th, we opened the doors to try to generate revenue in July 6th of 2020.
Okay. Well, tell us about the sword in the background.
So I mentioned that first staffing job. My brother's 5 years older than me, and I've probably spent my whole life telling him what he should do and he should go to school and who he should be. And one day he sat me down and said, bro, I love you, but why don't you go do something and then you can go tell me how to live my life?
Right.
it was interesting, that first staffing position. I realized personality wise, this industry was really fitting for our family, or our personality, I guess I should say. And so I'm on the phone with them every month about a commission statement. When I moved to Utah with my previous firm, the commission started growing exponentially. And I remember he's like, all right, bro, all ears. At the time he was at Home Depot, making $10 an hour. He actually took my old position in staffing. And since that, I was 25, he was 30. And since then we've been thick as thieves. The story in the background, he said to me when I opened this business, he called me a warrior. He told me he was proud of me, and said, we're gonna give you some symbolism for your office, but you got to hang it. So that is a World War II non-commissioned officer, Imperial Japanese soldier. So
that's cool. Well, it is true. Your personality, you are a warrior, and a tenacious warrior at that. I first heard about Capital Employment Group. I was driving home, and I heard an ad, and I thought, oh, this is a clever ad on the radio. And I thought, hey, this is a credible outfit. And I really liked some of the things that you were saying. I didn't know it was you that was actually the talking head on the radio. But I reached out to you, and we connected. And now we've discovered this relationship. You've joined the chamber. We're in a group together as well. But I just love working with people who have who are on the same wavelength with me, hungry, tenacious, and the warrior type personality. I love it. So Nick, thanks for joining the club, and it's been fun to work with you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So why don't you tell us a little bit more about CEG and how and what clients you help?
So our target space is light industrial office and admin, and I say corporate service. So the light industrial really encompasses all your warehousing, your production and assembly roles. And we have a very strong manufacturing base here in the Treasure Valley. And of course, over the 20 years, I've been able to build some really strong relationships with those folks. The office and admin is exactly that. So we have call center clients, continuing to work up that value chain a lot more. But I think we have 4 administrative positions on the board right now. All those are in the 17 to 18 position range. So we work really hard for those living wage jobs, right, for those entry level. And then my 3 years with the headhunting firm, I got some better recruitment processes trained to me, which was a very humbling experience. So we do a lot more direct placement than I did in my previous position. So that corporate services, $50,000 to $85,000 salaries is kind of our sweet spot. Procurement agents, HR generalists, warehouse managers, just anywhere where those non-exempt or those exempt positions, those salary positions, we seem to have a lot of success with those through the recruitment process.
Hey, I want to share a story with the listeners and with you. When I first moved to Boise back in the early 90s, I needed a job, and I went to a staffing agency. It was Kelly Temps at the time, and they placed me with Hewlett Packard. And I was in a light industrial space. I was putting on little circuit boards on top of their 3.5 by 5.5 Wolverine disk drives. Right? I still remember this. I would have never known about HP and had that opportunity to work for that amazing company if it wasn't for Kelly Temps.
Well, I think I love that you tell that story because as individuals, we're not necessarily good job canvassers. We don't go knock the door, drop resumes, and then have the follow-up that it takes to be successful there. The other piece is that old adage of it's not what you know, it's who you know. And so when you look at staffing and recruiting, if I were looking for a job, I would apply with every one of the agencies in town. We all kind of have our core base clients. We have 35 active clients right now. We hope to continue to add that. But what that allows is for somebody to come in who may not be a good interviewer, may not be a good, or just new to the area, like, hey, I just need to meet some people. And you have access to those clients. A lot of those jobs never hit the job boards because they don't post them. They've got partnerships with folks like us. We spend a lot of time and money on those job boards. But I think just as important is we're grinding the machine from bringing in applicants every day because of those 35 clients on the board. We have purpose to recruit. But the other piece is we spend so much time and effort on the relationship on the client side that, and we can talk a little bit about, dignity given freely and advocacy for our candidates and employees as our founding principles. We can advocate for somebody who may not otherwise get a shot because maybe their confidence doesn't come through. Maybe they don't think they're qualified. And we can reach directly out to those hiring managers and advocate, say, hey, we've got somebody. They're fantastic, but we can coach them through it. And we can also coach the hiring manager to say, give them a shot. You'll be surprised. And with those strong relationships, most of our clients will take our word on that.
Well, I was looking through your website and looking at all the different available positions you have. You have several, obviously everybody's hiring and always constantly. But when we talked last, Nick, I really admired and was inspired by how you recognize your team and how you celebrate your employees. Why don't you share a little bit about that?
The term blue ocean, right? Opportunities that nobody else is seizing. I find it really, so it's frustrating and not frustrating. I saw an opportunity in that dignity given freely, advocacy for our candidates and employees is something that has always resonated with me when we're dealing with, and especially when you're talking about light industrial and the blue collar worker. A lot of these are entry level folks, and they need somebody to be an advocate. But on the staffing side, how many times does a grandma die? How many times can you call in sick? So what ends up happening within our branches in our industry is people start to get jaded, they get frustrated. And so that next employee walks in and they're in a bad mood because this guy just walked off the job. And that's where that dignity given freely. I don't know which of the next 10 people that walk in my door are either going to not do us right or are going to be a superstar. And you can't judge by what they look like, how they're dressed. And so that's really preached heavily here is everybody deserves dignity. Even if it's somebody who stole from us and they're being terminated, you can still treat them as a human as you walk them out the door. You don't have to be mad at them or hate them to have those difficult conversations. And again, we've got some really good operators, really good staffing companies here in the Valley. So I don't mean to say that they're not giving dignity freely, but it's fascinating that I see very few companies recognize their full-time employees that allow them to turn their lights on, to hire their staff, and to pay their house payments. And we do, as an industry, spend all of our time chasing around the problem child, the guy that called in sick, the person who got injured on the job. And so that's been a really important focus of this business. The team knows if they can keep me running all day long and all I do is honor employees of the month and give gift cards away and celebrate hard workers, that's what they're working to just make that my full-time job. And from a stat, we did 36 employees of the month last year and gave over $1,700 in Walmart gift cards away to those folks.
Cool.
They win by being nominated by somebody in my office or nominated with one of our clients. And then, of course, we give them some cool CEG swag. Having way too much fun with the swag right now.
I love it. It's so important to recognize those publicly, and you do it. And kudos to you, man.
Thank you.
That's a big reason why you're successful, and recruiting other clients as well.
Yep.
Hey, let's talk a little bit about your community investment. Tell me what nonprofits you guys support. What's your guys' passion?
Definitely giving back to our worker pool is a high priority of ours. We've donated to the Boise Police Association multiple times, sponsoring kids the back to school. I'm sure you're familiar, but a police officer takes at-risk youth or opportunity youth, just folks that maybe their interaction with police may not always be positive. And so that donation of sponsoring a couple children, the goal is to sponsor an additional child every year we're in business. So we'll keep working that up. But that's a lot of fun. The last one there was another one for the Boise police. They're like you, Paul. They're good, solid salespeople that are relentless, and I like being sold. So when somebody calls up with a sincere ask, we'll pull it off. But I would say we say yes to about 80% of the 80% of the opportunities to donate.
That's awesome. Hey, I threw your website up here, cegboise.com. I encourage anybody, any businesses that are watching who are looking to get some help staffing their teams up, And anyone who's listening that's interested in maybe at a turning point in their career or looking for something new, give Nick and CEG a chance and give them a call. Nick, while I have you, and we got a couple more minutes left, is there anything else that you'd like to educate us on about CEG or what's going on in your world?
We're all hiring, so we're working to unautomate hiring. Everybody seems to be going to apps and not having the human touch. So we want to have more interaction with our employees and clients. But this summer, it's the Recognition on the Rise, Summer of Appreciation. We will be throughout the Treasure Valley at local parks doing candidate and employee appreciation barbecues. We're going to be doing some giveaways, and just, we've got Kleiners and some Meridian parks. We're going to kick it off in March at Edge Brewing Company as a pretty big to announce that. But really the goal is every 3 to 4 weeks, have some type of event, recognize our employees if they can get out for lunch, talk to our candidates, and just really the community engagement with the passing public. I don't see enough of the outreach. Rather than post and pray and now urgently hiring is not what we need to do to be successful. We want to improve the community, advocate for our people, and go to them where they're at.
Well, we're all doing the best we can, right, Nick, in the times we have. And hey, again, I just wanted to thank you sincerely for your investment with us, your investment in the community, and for our continued friendship, Nick. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Really appreciate it. It's a pleasure.
Have a great weekend. We'll talk soon.